You're listening to Conscious Debriefing Podcast with Jason and Rachel.
Alright. Yeah, we are back. I'm Jason. Okay, my wife is not with me today. I've got two special guests with me in the studio. Okay, it's not really a studio. This is just the back room. We are just doing a live recording. Okay, on the one side I've got Shadrack. Shadrack is not a stranger to us. He has been here before. He has done a podcast with me. We did a podcast on racism and bigotry. Shadrack, how are you, brother?
Doing good.
You're doing great, my brother. That was an awesome podcast, eh? Powerful subject. We spoke on some heavy shit there, deep shit.
We need to talk about such things because most people are inconsiderate that they even happen in the world they're living in.
Yeah, exactly. People are not informed, you know. They just got this narrative, they got the specific narrative, and then that's it, you know. Cool. This is how things are in South Africa, and we're going to go with that. But that's why we're here. We're here now because we're going to talk about things that's also happening globally.
That are affecting each and every single human being alive today.
Globalizations as such. Yeah. And on the other side, I've got my main man, Vusi. Vusi, are you my chana?
I'm fine, I'm powerful. And yourself?
Oh, I'm always good, my chana.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be happy. I'm here. Okay, I'm happy that you guys are here. And feeling a bit nervous because the topic is about what I said earlier. We're going to speak about this YouTube video that was released. When was it released? Some time ago. Let me just check quickly when it was released. 2012. Okay, so it's an old video. It's called Ma'afa 21, the Black Holocaust. Very, very deep video. Vusi, you were the one that actually told me about this on Tuesday. And then I went to it and I watched it. And then I made a copy and I gave it to Shadrack, and Shadrack also watched it, and yeah, he was stunned too. I mean, there was a lot of things in it that was stunned. Alright, is my intro finished played? Yeah, my intro is finished played, yeah. Let's get into it. Before we go there, I just want to talk about the happenings of last week, what's been happening with that pastor, Alf. Hey?
Yeah.
What? The guy's crazy, eh? There's a guy in a coffin, dressed in a white suit, white gloves. Hey? And then he preaches, he prays a bit, and hallelujah! Rise, my man, rise from the dead! Hey?
It's like magic, bruh.
It's like magic. But you know how much controversy now that video has caused now? It's making a mockery of Christianity as such.
Yeah, I think it's always been the case where people are getting scammed through the medium of Christianity.
Yeah.
Know? Because some people, like the pastor are aware of this. They're saying that, especially in Africa, they are people who are looking for miracles, not for God. So they're using that for money.
For money, my
yeah.
boot.
So
for money. They don't want the roll-ins. They want the notes.
The ching.
The ching must come flying in. But I saw on Facebook, there was another pastor that also prayed for this pastor, Alf, to say what he's doing is wrong. He's making a mockery. I mean, there is real pastors out there, ministers and doing it, that really are preaching the word of God. And then you get this oak that does completely the opposite, makes a mockery, and hence why we got all this atheism in a society of ours today. Hey, have you got any atheist friends?
No, not that I'm aware of, but there are many atheists that I follow on Facebook. Yeah. Especially, I don't want to name drop, but Dr. Uma Johnson is the person that I follow so much. So he is not an atheist, he's a Pan-Africanist. Pan-Africanist. So, like I said before, the pastors know that people are looking for miracles, and the only way to make money is come with some sort of miracle whatever
Yeah.
they call it, and then they get money in that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've got nothing really wrong against atheism as such. I know they don't believe in God, but they have got almost like commandments like we have. They have got set of rules. Thou should not steal and that. So their guidelines to life is almost the same as ours. It's just that they don't do it with using God's name. Yeah.
Passion.
Passion, yeah.
Passion. What I've realized when I delved a little bit into the study, passion.
Yeah.
Most of Christians today, they are not so much their faith. Their faith is like an umbrella that's got holes
But
in a rain.
that's what it's about. It's about faith.
It's about faith.
Yeah, it's about faith.
You realize that these atheists, they've got so much passion and they've got so much faith
Yeah.
onto this whole following that they are onto, that in terms of us comparing or actually calculating the scale of it, they are bypassing most Christians today. This is why you happen to find things like preachers that will claim that they are raising people from the dead.
Yeah.
Then when you're a true believer, you just know that I don't need to search for God. For when he comes onto this earth, nobody's going to have to tell me. I will know.
Yeah, no, true. That's true.
I mean, on that as well, just to add on what Shadrack is saying. I mean, if you are a pastor, and then why do you have to have money to preach the word of God? You know, why do you have to make money out of the word of God?
Okay, the way I see it, the Bible says you got to give 10% of your earnings. Okay, true. I never really understood that because the church that my mom used to go to, he always complained about the 2 rand that was in the plate. And that's where I got offended. And that's when I realized, you know what, this guy's not here to make money to give to donations and stuff like that and help the poor and that. He's here in it for the money. Right? He's in it for the money. Because then he goes on, he says, look, I've also got lights to pay and I've got rent to pay and all that stuff. And that. So, yeah, okay, cool. It's a 50-50 feel here. But when they start driving BMWs and Ferraris and then get this Pastor Alf, he came in with a limousine and he had traffic cops escorted him. Hey, come on, that's very powerful shit. That's money rolling there. Eh? Such an entrance, to make such an entrance like that, no, come on, it's just not my style. It cramps my style, 100%. All right, let's get into it quickly. I'm going to play a short clip. Actually, there's a few clips that I want to play. I've actually gone into my YouTube channel. I've time marked it. I want to first play this clip. The Black Holocaust. Let's go into it quickly. This is a short description quickly of how it took place.
The fact is that almost every aspect of the American economy was at some level or another invested in the slave business. You also need to recognize that for the wealthy elitists who controlled this system, slaves were an asset as long as they were slaves. But at the moment they are set free, they become a liability. And what the elite knew was that the end of slavery would instantly release 4 million people into the economy who had been kept uneducated and effectively unemployable anywhere but the cotton field. And what they were concerned about was that this was going to bankrupt the American economy. Taxes were going to go through the roof to take care of these people. Crime was going to be rampant. The prisons were going to be flooded. There was going to be this population overrun. And in the North, the biggest fear was migration from the South of these black people. The other fear that these people had was intermarriage between blacks and whites would lead to a loss of racial purity. The question was...
All right. What are these guys saying here? I mean, come on. The white elites, they're the ones that went to Africa. They're the ones that stole Africans and brought them to America and created the slavery thing, okay? Now, some years later now, slavery is abolished. I think the British abolished it and it became a worldwide event that it's abolished. And now they're saying this. Now they're saying because we're going to release these slaves into society, they're going to become a liability now. I mean, come on. Today we know, we understand that this is a cruel event and it should have never taken and it should have never happened. Shadrack, what's your take on what you just heard there?
Well, in my understanding is this. The same when we look at slavery and we compare us here in Africa, people that suffered colonization, it's the same thing. what that piece of article is saying is this: as long as the powers that be are benefiting, then it's good. But as long as they are going to conceive a liability, therein lies a problem. Because you look at the structure of slavery. Slaves were used in cotton fields. They were used in households. They were used in manufacturers.
Yeah, of course.
All of that. At that point in time, they served the purpose. Up until, like you said, Britain started to abolish slavery. So America looks at the rest of the world and does not want the rest of the world to think it's what it is. Well, some of us know America in another face.
Yeah.
If I can say that.
Glamorous.
True. Vusi?
Well, what I can say, slavery still exists now, just that in a different format.
Just in a different format. I like to see it as a word called commercial slavery.
Commercial slavery, you can
And
say.
we all know what commercial slavery is.
Yeah, you could check now through the media what they're doing. Ne? They're giving young ones drugs, commercial drugs like your like cough mixtures.
Yeah.
You see, weed now is getting legalized. So everything now it's becoming mental slavery. The only way now, they cannot kill black people now. But what they can do is actually control them from within their minds. That's what they can do, and they are doing it on a daily basis. When you watch TV, you see black people specifically hating on one another, and that's not what civilization and liberalism is about. You know? Now it's more visible to the black eye that we need to maybe drink more, have many wives, cheat on our own, and defeat the purpose of us reuniting as black people. But now what's happening, it's modern day slavery. Slavery has never been dead. It's just
changed its face.
Yeah.
Modern day slavery. I like that. I like that very much.
And another term word for modern day slavery is that human trafficking. That's also slavery.
Human trafficking.
Me and my wife did a podcast on human trafficking, but we spoke more about watch your kids. It was about the children malls. Don't leave them unattended, stuff like that. If you go to the toilet, you come back, your child's gone. The various things.
That's a very powerful term, modern slavery. I mean, modern slavery, in a sense, you're supposed to have chains. Back in the day, the chains were visible. They were physical. You could literally see them.
You could literally see it,
Yes. But in today's world, the chains are invisible, but they're still there due to certain constraints that have been put into place.
In layman's terms, okay, if I want to go into layman's terms, explaining commercial slavery is you open an Eggers account. You're buying clothes on account and you're paying back what? 20 odd percent. That's the commercial slavery that I'm talking about. They're enslaving you, and you go to school and you go to college, you come out, and you are basically, your salary structure doesn't allow you to live a comfortable life. So what do? You're forced to open accounts. You're forced to take a bond. You're forced to take a loan out on a car and pay back interest. That, to me, is how I see modern day slavery.
And just to add into that, what you've just said, those are the basic necessities of life. You didn't mention any luxuries.
Yeah, but why must it be the basic necessities of life? I mean, that's the whole catch, man. I mean, it's fucked up.
That's the thing. You've got these elites that have got so much wealth at their disposal. They are made. Their children's children are made. They keep on making billions and trillions over people's backs. The thing that stands out the most when you talk about this with other races, because I'm black, but I've went beyond the point where I feel that slavery is only a black thing. Nowadays, slavery is about financial status.
Yeah.
You are only free as the level of your pocket will allow you to be.
Your image, your ego.
I mean,
what?
Look at how they portray relationships, how they portray the role of a man. A man was meant by God to lead.
Yeah.
We are leaders, but then again, we are subjugated to look at women as though they're supposed to be on top of us. And the whole isms, slavery, modern slavery.
Remember we spoke about the isms in it. We had a heavy discussion about the isms. About the main, today the main topics is your sexism and your feminism. Okay, that's the main thing today, because women want to go out there and tackle the man's job, but they really can't do the man's job, and they've got this thing in their head, I'm going to do this job. I don't care that you're a CEO, I also want to be a CEO in that. Okay, yeah, okay, cool, fair enough, I understand that. But when the pressure comes real, and then when you as a man put pressure on her because she's a feminist, then you become a sexist. Then you're a sexist, and you get labeled a sexist. Fuck, it's die mekaar, man. And there's all court cases and going on. Yes, you know, it's too much.
It's legislation, it's policy, it's a level of control that the system has induced upon people.
Yeah.
Without people being aware of it. Right? So right now, you've got a man fighting against a woman.
Yeah.
Instead of both of them being aligned with each other and then seeing that, you know what, there's a little odd guy there at the corner there, and he's trying to get to us, and he's willing to do anything. You know, there's a very powerful message that says it's all fair in love and war. And living in today's world, knowing what's really happening with Christ and the Antichrist and all these so-called social parties, racial parties, it's crazy. We live in a very, very...
I mean, I got nothing wrong against feminism. I mean, come on, let's be fair here. Everybody wants to be equal.
You know what? Fair enough. But I'm simply going to explain that in this. I'm not saying that a man is above a woman or a woman is above a man. I'm just saying...
But it's been seen like it for years. For many fucking years.
There's a rock that one guy can pick up, but one woman cannot, right? We're just saying we realize the vulnerabilities of women, and then we're not trying to capitalize upon those vulnerabilities. Just that the powers that be want people to focus on that. Hence why they always strive to find little issues between black and white.
That's it, yeah. All right, let's go back onto the video quickly. There's another clip, 1 hour, 1.28. This talks about eugenics. Now, we'll go into it and we'll explain a bit. Okay, I think it's going to explain a little bit what eugenics means, but let's go into it quickly. All right, I can't find that part now on YouTube about what's it? What I said, eugenics. So I'm just going to quickly go into the definition quickly. What the word eugenics means: the science of improving a population by controlled breeding to increase the occurrence of desirable. What's that word, Shadrack? What's that word?
Evitable characteristics.
Yeah. Okay. So eugenics is exactly what it is. There, it's controlling the population. Okay, Shadrack, you saw that part. You want to go into quickly? Come closer, Chana. I'm wait. Huh? You can go speak.
Eugenics. Well, we should go to Darwin's theory on evolution. When the first issues were edited out, we found that there was more of a sentence there edited compared to the others. It's exactly as, it's more or less self-explanatory, but we realize that when they delve a little bit more into the term of eugenics, they wanted to do a little bit more. They wanted to control and regulate the production of other species while they protected them, and then subjugate other species that were thought of to be a little bit less intolerable or not to be as of them, and those species were subjugated to, I would say, destruction. So eugenics is basically what we are living in today, because this has been structured over centuries and it's been kept in the dark. Even the people that thought they were doing good, wow, some people just took that good and then they used it for their own.
Yeah, because at a later stage they couldn't use the word eugenics anymore, so they had to create something else. So they came up with the term word Planned Parenthood, where they had these branches all over America. And it was specifically designed to be in black areas where black people were living.
True. They were mostly concentrated in black minority communities.
Black minority, yeah.
Yes.
The project.
The project
itself, yeah. And the American government funded, or the Congress at that time funded them, gave them money to come up with all kinds of ideas and abortion tablets, and they created, abortion was not illegal, but it was there. So they were going to these minority groups and advise them that, you know, do you really want to have children? You know, we offer Planned Parenthood, and that you can come in, we'll give you an abortion and all that. What's interesting about eugenics is because in this video that they did like interviews with a couple of people in America, and they asked, what do you think has killed off black people in general? A lot of them said AIDS, HIV, and heart disease, and cancer, and all that. And then right at the end, boom, the guy said, no, it's abortion. Abortion. Yeah, abortion is killing of the black minorities in America, because the white elites didn't want the population to expand because of what you heard there in the beginning. The liability in that, and they're scared of they're going to create havoc and all that, which is totally wrong. I mean, Vusi, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I think eugenics still exists even today. You can look around in the...
That's okay.
Yeah, you can look around in the hoods, in the communities, you know, you in a form of racism, in a form of racism, this actually happens, you know, because like you said, like the video says, these people were afraid. Once you become afraid of something, you're going to come up with desperate measures to control, exclude, you know. I mean, this eugenics is actually happening now.
Yeah.
Why do black people don't have proper jobs, proper means of taking care of themselves, while else other people are having that privilege, you know? It's still eugenics. It when you look at yourself being defeated, you know, you won't want to make babies, you won't want to have families. I mean, if you are in a poverty state, why would you want to have a baby, a family, a nice house? Because you don't have means of giving or protecting or helping your family to move forward to the next level or whatever. So basically, eugenics is still happening even today.
Yeah, it is, but I won't say it's happening in South Africa as much. And there's a reason why I say that. What is the population of black people in America percentage-wise? How much percentage does it make up? Do you know? 12%. 12%. Well, maybe 60 to 80% makes up the white population in America. Then, of course, you got your Muslims and all other people like Japanese. I mean, remember, America is a rainbow culture, just like us. We like to see ourselves as a rainbow culture. In our country, what does whites make up? 8 to 9%. 8 to 9%. So in other words, white people are the minority, and black people, which makes up 45, is it 45% makes up black? So I won't say eugenics is really here in South Africa, if you can see it that way.
It's global.
It's global.
Certain Bolt was the president of Planned Parenthood in America.
Yeah.
He authorized abortion. In fact, he didn't. Yeah, he did authorize an abortion, but Lady by the name of Elaine Riddick was at the age of 13 when this abortion was done.
Yeah.
So the guardian that had stood guardianship on a guardianhood had authorized that she should go for an abortion.
Yeah.
But she didn't go for an abortion. The child was delivered.
Yeah.
But before the child was delivered, they asked that for them to deliver the child, she had to be sterilized.
Yeah.
Meaning she will never, ever have another kid.
That's right. That's right. And she didn't even know about it.
Yes,
Yeah.
that happened. And then the only reasons why they explained to her, the reasons why they had to do it, they said, she's an imbecile, stupid,
Feeble-minded.
she's feeble-minded, she's mindless.
Yeah.
She's incapable of taking care of herself. This woman did something extraordinary. She proved that it's not what the powers that be say that is going to be the outcome of life. Right?
Yeah.
Because she went and she, despite all this, she acquired a college degree.
Yeah, of course.
Her son went and became the owner of 3 companies.
Yes, that's right. I remember that. Yeah.
So, where is the feeble-mindedness in that? Where is the stupidity?
It's self-taught.
This is the thing.
From the white elite.
The elite are still practicing eugenics even today.
Yeah.
Hence why I said it's beyond color now. It's all about how much you have in terms of money, because they have stipulated this. the reason why you are alive and you would ever be considered to be a person of power, it's how much money you have.
Yeah.
So anybody that does not have money, you are considered irrelevant.
It's like Charles Darwin. He was the one that came up with this concept, the survival of the fittest.
The survival of the fittest.
Separating races and cultures.
And who came up with the theory of eugenics? Charles Darwin.
Charles Darwin, yep, exactly. He came up with that concept. Yeah.
So we're still suffering through this. As long as we still see perpetual things that are narrated there on TV, as long as we see men that are portrayed in very obscure or bizarre characters, as long as we see women dressed in short skirts, as long as we see this profanity, as long as we contemplate sex all the time, as long as there's drugs in the world, there's always gonna be a level of eugenics implanted on us. You remember what George Bush said in 2001 when he was going against 9/11? He said it's either you are with us or you are against us.
Yeah.
Guys, take a little bit of research. Look at all the countries that the United States does not want to negotiate, nor even have business with. Those are the countries that don't tolerate the way the United States operate.
Yeah.
These guys, it's a very murky, but it's clear. It's the very same things that our forefathers were fighting for in the foundation of this world. These things have been happening. Heck, they've been happening before even Jesus came here.
Yeah.
All right. They're still happening after Jesus came here. They're still using his religion. You know, that's the thing. I'm thinking mass media has, in a way, trying to prove that, or actually not even trying to prove, to drive a wedge between people and God.
Yeah.
To make them a godless nation.
Yeah.
So that they can it's like they're scientists, they're probing them, they're putting us in a lab. You know, colonization, that's like closing people off in a lab. Whether it be you cannot see the glasses or not. But some of us have got eyes that see beyond what most eyes would be able to see. So we want to tell the people that, you know what, there's something that is trying to fight and drive a wedge between all peoples of earth from coming together. Because with unity comes prosperity, but with division comes anarchy.
Just anarchy. And we're seeing that anarchy at the moment.
I mean, what Shadrack is saying, I can actually relate to it. I mean, a person was never meant. This is the idea of God. You were never meant to be sick. How can AIDS, cancer, diabetes, arthritis, and all that? I mean, this is eugenics, another form of eugenics. How can they have, you have such diseases, yet you don't have a cure for? I mean, this is the elites, the way of the elites to function and to actually continue their agenda on certain races. And, you know, this is another form of eugenics. If you have, maybe for an example, Libya or DRC Congo, who has the most powerful commodities, you know, and then you come up with a plan of making the people sick there so that you can own the land and own whatever there is in
that's exactly what happened in America. When Christopher Columbus and those people came in, the Red Indians were a threat to them. So what they had to do, they had to neutralize the Red Indians, so that and at that time it was silver. Silver was the mineral in America that built the economy in America. Years later, the monetary system was created where you printed money and that. Shadrack, you got some more stuff there. I see you got some more stuff there.
On abortion, you know, if we touch base on abortion, this is a clip that was said in the White House in April 3, 1972 by Richard Nixon. This is what he said. He said, "A majority of people vote for abortion. I think a majority of people in Michigan voted for abortion. But I think in both cases, well, certain in Michigan, well, certainly in Michigan, they will vote for it because they think that only the black little bastards were going to be aborted."
Yeah, I heard that. Flipping fucking cruel.
It's cruel.
Nasty shit.
It's cruel. People. We need to be aware of this. Racial segregation, borders, in a sense. We've talked about borders before. Those things exist only in our own heads. and they exist in our heads, and these people think that they can take and keep on misusing and abusing the rest of the world because they see it fit. That their forefathers have been doing this. Their forefathers before their forefathers have been doing this. That's why we're talking about faith and a level of separation and division, because these people have did their homework. They did their homework, and the rest of the world is not even aware, not even trying to catch up. They're just sheep, mindless sheep that don't even think about what's really happening in the world, and it's scary.
To me, Christianity, a lot of people, and we touched base on it now in the beginning of our podcast, where people are mocking Christianity. Christianity to me was a guideline to life itself. It came with a set of rules, the 10 Commandments, and then as you read further into the Bible, there's various stories in it, now where atheists comes in, atheists don't believe in stories like Samson pushing down a building and a burning bush and there's this cloud in the sky. Atheists believe in what you can't see, what you can't touch. It's science. Science has now proved it. I don't know if you remember, there was this YouTube video on Facebook about these Nigerians. And there's one guy's a professor and he walks through the car. You know this video? There's this little boy drinking yogurt and he's going, "What are you drinking there?" "Oh, I'm drinking fresh yogurt." Yeah. "Is it nice?" "Yes." And then he says, "Oh, David," to a friend of his there. He says, "I hear you won a YouTube Golden Award." "Yes, it's awesome. Thanks God." So the guy goes, "Thanks God?
Can you see?"
Can you see God? No. Can you touch God? No, we can't. Then God is not real because science has proven it. All right. Then the boy goes back and he carries on. He says, "You see, common logic." He says, "My common sense tells me that there's no God." Okay. And then the little boy goes, "Can you see your common sense?" And the professor goes, "No." He says, "Can you touch your common sense?" "No." And he goes, "You see, therefore, your common sense is not real. It's not existing." And the professor stood still. He goes, "Oh," he couldn't even answer.
The world would make sense in a...
Yeah, of course, yeah. But it's like this country. We know the story about Jan van Riebeeck when Jan van Riebeeck came. He worked for a company called VOC. Okay. His mission, and he didn't come here 2,000 years ago. Like the one politician on news said, he came here 2,000 years ago. Okay. But he came here to open up a station, a refreshment station, basically where in those years they were exporting with herbs, coffee, spices in that, spices. Come to Cape Town, refresh, and then maybe pick up some whores and whatnot, you know what I mean? It wasn't, and then go further to their venture. Jan van Riebeeck only stayed 10 years. It was about 10 years, maybe 10 years plus, and then he went back to Holland, where he came from. It was the other people that came into the country, that came off ships from Holland and from Amsterdam and that. When the Cape Colony evolved, it was under the British command, in the 1820s, when it was now the Cape Colony. The Afrikaners at that time, the Boere, as we all know them, refused to pay taxes to the Queen. And there was a big argument, big disputes about it, and they said, "Okay, if I'm not going to pay taxes, I'm leaving." They ventured out into Africa, South Africa, and the Groot Trek began with Piet Retief, Gert Maritz, and that. Met up with the Khoisas on the Fish River, and then further met up with Dingaan. Piet Retief and his men were killed, and then the Battle of the Blood River. Right, we know all that part of history, What we don't know, and a lot of people don't know out there, is that when the British discovered that the Boere were digging up gold and diamonds in it, this is where the shit starts. This is where America and Italy and France and that all got nice gold reserves in their banks, the monetary system, their currency. England at that time was dropping, so they need gold. But now you got Paul Kruger there, and Paul Kruger is not really allowing it. So the only way to get the gold is to get rid of Paul Kruger. And hence we had the two Boer Wars. And the Boer Wars went on, and they couldn't win. England, Britain almost went bankrupt of these wars. All for gold, And then the ANC came into the picture. ANC came into the picture, and basically They were then on a mission, and the British and the Russians and other parts of the world, and even the Jewish people, because we know Joe Slobo was a Jew boy. All the bombs that they had back in those days was not created here. It came from overseas. It came from...
Yes, we do know that the ANC acquired some help even from the Russians.
Yeah, they acquired help. And there's a documentary, and I mentioned to you, Vusi, I want you to watch, called Tainted Heroes. In that documentary, they talk about how they acquired help from the Russians and that to help them take over. So yes, liberation.
How some of the leaders were taken to Moscow, given training, so that they can come back and fulfill. Is that their agenda or the other people's agenda?
It was also the other people's agenda. But you see, in South Africa, liberation, ANC is a liberation movement. We know that. And liberation, to me, is a far more stronger ideology than any other ideology that's been created. It's a very powerful ideology.
Can we have a new term called liberal education?
Yeah, because it's already there. It's here already.
I think we need liberation with education, because how we went about acquiring power into this country was completely the other way around. Remember, we were on TV. I mean, black people were on TV saying liberation now, education later.
Who said that? I know somebody said that.
Winnie, I think she was married to some guy.
What?
Yeah, Winnie.
Winnie
Mandela.
Yeah, it was liberate and educate later.
Yes.
But did that become a reality?
It did become a reality, but it became a reality that overcasted a very dark shadow to another realm.
I don't know. I think it's too late, because
it is.
What's happening now, we all been taught, black people have all been taught about liberation and that, and it's right. You know, you have the right to liberate against your white colonialist. Okay, we understand that, but we don't know why we are liberating. We think we're liberating for freedom and financial freedom. So we've got freedom now, okay? But now we're at this stage where we don't have financial freedom. We don't have that financial freedom, do we?
Every time when you
because that financial freedom is still in those hands that were trying to help the ANC back in those days. You know?
T's apply.
Yeah, T&Cs apply because the British could not get their hands on this country. They could not get their hands on the gold because the Boer were too strong. So yeah, ANC came over in 1994. 1994 was given, and what happened to ANC? They were bankrupt. There was no money in the bank account. So what's the next step? Privatization.
No, considering about
privatization, some SOEs, state-owned enterprises, were sold in order to accumulate a bank account, you know, so that the country can survive.
And it's heading that way, that direction.
No, we're already there. We're already there. NGE 2019 is here.
We can call this the history of selling out. Just to give you a bit of an example, what happened before is there's a guy who everybody loves in America, goes by the name of Jesse Jackson. Now, Jesse Jackson, back in 1984, he ran for presidency. Jesse Jackson was against abortion.
Now Jesse Jackson is a black man, eh?
He's a black man.
He's a black man, yeah.
He was against abortion.
Baptist minister and politician.
So what happened when he was calling for power for him to go into office? He started to cave in a little bit and say it's the girl's child, the girl's choice whether they want to have an abortion or not.
Yeah.
So he compromised his core beliefs, because we've got groups like the Black Panthers. The Black Panthers, and then there was a group called the Nation of Islam. Those people were against abortion. They wanted it to be abolished.
Yeah, because they knew what it was doing.
Yes.
They knew exactly what it was doing.
It is the abortion, it is a new one. It is the new death camp. If the Nazis had a gas chamber, now all nations in the world have a gas chamber.
Yeah, you know those chambers, you know, when the Nazis had their chambers in slavery camps, you know where those slavery camps came from? Yeah, in South Africa. We had concentration camps where the British enslaved Afrikaans women and children in the war periods, you know.
Wow.
And the Nazis adapted that style.
Also did another discovery. The abortion came off firstly in the form of a pill.
Yes.
Trace it back. The Nazis used to use Zyklon B gas
Yeah, the Nazis were also interested in what Planned Parenthood were doing here. And so were we. So was this government of ours, apartheid government.
The company that actually came up with Zyklon B gas, the one that came up with the abortion tablet.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So even today, that company that had killed so many Jews, that had killed so many people, we're still constituting it and we're still tolerating it and we're still giving money onto such organizations.
Coming back to liberation, Vusi, maybe you'll agree with me. A lot of people in this country have been suffering for years. I mean, for years. Not 30 years, not 40 years, hundreds of years. So we're on that stage now, NJ 2019. Okay, the whole idea of EFF and that is nationalism, and people are talking about socialism, bringing socialism into the country. Would you agree that when that happens, all the investors will pull out? We've seen it happen in Congo. Aye. What other countries we've seen it happen? Angola? Aye.
Yeah.
Help me out, guys. Help me out here.
Angola.
Okay, so Zimbabwe, but Zimbabwe is still going through their process now.
Yeah,
they kicked out the whites. All the investors pulled their money out, and basically the country, bit for bit, went down to shit, and the money, the currency went sky high. A loaf of bread is going to cost you, what, $1,000? Is it more now? I don't know.
They used a completely wrong strategy. I'm like, this is what we need to try and... We need to make them realize how the super elite, how they function, right? Because they don't steal like normal people. Like, even a person in power, I wouldn't say. Because when one person steals 1 million, maybe in billion, whatever, okay, cool. That they steal more each and every single day. They steal precious commodities from all countries. They are willing to constitute whatever reason for them to get their way, whatever they want to get. I mean, look at the history. We're talking about colonization.
Yeah.
Same shit.
Same shit, yeah.
All right. We're talking about slavery. Same thing.
Yeah.
I can name you the latest event that I think also is a Holocaust, and most people are not aware of it, which is what happened onto the Islam nation due to 9/11.
Yeah.
Because it was a farce. They have even confirmed that it was a farce. So how many of the Muslims, how many did they kill?
But we all know the conspiracy surrounding the 9/11. What was it really about?
Oil. It was nothing.
Oil.
Precious.
Black gold.
Precious commodities.
Precious commodities. Why? Because when Richard Nixon was around and when Vietnam happened, we know the history of Vietnam, the battle between North and South. And when the world realized how powerful Americans were, and what they were doing, to help there in Vietnam, the oil, not the gold that was in the Fort Knox Bank, other countries start pulling out. Now, what happens when you start pulling gold out? Because your currency, and that is all based on the amount of gold that you got on the monetary system, So what was the next step? Because people were pulling the gold out, so the next step was oil. And the Americans are fighting hard to ensure that the oil price is still sold in the dollar. It must be sold in the dollar. But coming back to liberation is, to me, this is the way I see liberation. Once all the rich man's money is out of this country, investors pull out, we're not gonna come right straight away. It's gonna take another 30 to 40 years before we start seeing signs of improvement. And there's also a big if, okay, because Ethiopia, okay, I thought they were colonized, but they're not. They were never colonized, but they were invaded by Italy. All right, remember I spoke to you the other day about it, Vusi. They were invaded by Italy, and they regained their independence in 1941. And we all know the history of Ethiopia. We've seen photos of Africans, skin and bone, and poverty was harsh. I mean, really harsh. We think Zimbabwe is harsh. Ethiopia was harsh, and it was a worldwide event. And only now, recently, Ethiopia is showing signs of improvement. Okay? So this is how I'm seeing liberation. We are liberating against the white elites. We are prepared to go into a poverty stage. because in the end, it's worth it. Hey, Vusi, help me out. Help me out, Vusi. Help me out, yeah.
I think this whole issue of being colonized, the effects of apartheid are now visible, you know, because you have people going around hating on white people, of which it's not liberation in a way, you know. You still have people that are holding the funds that needs to impact communities all around the communities, so forth, you know. You still have people who are corrupt.
Yeah.
Our government officials who
of course,
who are very corrupt. You still have the spin doctors, other political parties that are spin doctors, they are fronting. They're just there to front. You know, I don't want to mention names, you know, but it goes with the blue collar, you know. So those things are the things that are keeping us stagnant as a country, as a nation. I had an analogy during this week, you know. You don't fight a zebra. A zebra has black and white fragments on it.
Yes.
Imagine if there's no black, there's no white.
Yeah.
How can a zebra function? It will lack identity. It will lack many things. You know? So we are in this dysfunction whereby it's black hating white, white hating black because of the forefathers, the people.
Yeah, well, in this country, is because of apartheid. We know that much.
Exactly.
But apartheid to me was always about political correctness. Okay, but more so in saying so. Okay, maybe I'm using political correctness in the correct context, because context is always important here in everything we discuss here when we debate here. Okay, the context around apartheid is that it was created. Okay, and why was it created? You've heard me talk about the British settlers coming here and about the Boers not willing to pay tax to the Queen and that, and they ventured out into Africa. If the English could not beat the Boers, they had to create a political system that the world will see and that the media would use it as a propaganda status to bring down the government, the MP government of that time. But are you guys all with me on the same? Are you on the same page as me?
Yes, that's the model that the ANC did actually use. They went for a bushveld war because the tactics that they had to use were bushveld.
Yeah, exactly. But
they took the war. Everybody. A bush war means everybody, every citizen, every inhabitant within a piece of land is regarded as a military as a military object. So even people, like, can you imagine old women were looked at as military combatants?
Yeah.
Right.
No,
That was the thing. That's why the ANC ended up going to the farms to do the things that they were doing, because they felt like the only portion of the country that was being exposed to this war of theirs, the black war, was only the black communities.
Yeah.
All right, like we understand that it's a period that's very harsh. It's a period that has happened, and it's a period that we're not saying that we're not acknowledging, but we need to start acknowledging one thing. At this time, thank you for that picture of Haile Selassie. At this time, it's about what the people want to stand for against the people that want to take from them, right? You realize 95% of people are going to get robbed. And I mean 95% of blacks, whites, Indians, whatever race you have, against this group of people that just want to take everything from them.
Yeah, true.
That's what we need to start focusing on.
Now, but I want to come back, Vusi, because I'm going to use, you did a search on this. Who's this? Haile Selassie. I'm gonna give you a chance to talk, because I see you want to talk about him. But Jan Smuts, we all know Jan Smuts was, and Winston Churchill were friends. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Did you know that they were friends?
I saw a picture.
We were talking about it, and I showed you. There's a book. There's a book on
about
it. You can get it in CNA. Jan Smuts and Winston Churchill. Come on, put your heads together there. I mean, why were they big chummies? Because Winston Churchill was telling Jan Smuts what to do, you know? Jan Smuts, to me, was a spy for the British, man. He helped create that apartheid, and he enforced apartheid into this country. Because why? The Boere at that time were not afraid now of the British now. Now they were afraid of communism. They were afraid of communism because we all know how Russia has taken land over the last 500 years. Peace for peace, peace for peace. And they were going to war and they were just taking land. So they were afraid. And that paranoia led South Africa to be this most powerful military nation. I mean, we had the best helicopters. We had an army, and the soldiers that they used was a recce. Recces, they were recces. And the training of a recce was far more superior to that of the Marine in America, you know. So, in a way, we were a threat. So, yeah, they were afraid of communism, and they didn't want it to happen and that, but, yeah. Okay. Hey?
Yeah.
Vusi?
So, yeah.
Yeah, this thing that you did a search on her.
No, like, I was just going through Haile Silas, you know, this person is so powerful, you know. I mean, he was the one who was fighting against the Italian invasion. You know, I have a picture of him where the Queen Elizabeth bowing to him, you know.
I think I've seen that picture. Yes, but not her, just her. There was another couple of white elitists.
Exactly.
That bowed. Is this the dude?
This is the guy.
Oh my word.
You know, and it shows you that how one independent color becomes powerful and the other is powerful. They can make this beautiful zebra work, you know.
No, but what you're saying there, I watched the clip on that Chaka Zulu. I was talking to you on Tuesday about Chaka Zulu, TV show that they made.
Yes.
And there was people from Britain that also did the same, and they drank Nkomboti.
Yeah.
And they said words, you know, worshipping the King Shark and that. So what you just explained happened also in Chaka days. They white people also praised Chaka and my king.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole issue around everything, you know. We need, as people, start taking care of one another. If you don't slaughter, it doesn't mean that I'm cruel to your culture or whatever. Yeah. But we need to tolerate each other's culture. If you go to Spare, for an example, there are chopped ribs there. But now I prefer to do it culturally, in my own culture. I prefer to take out intestines, intestines, the head. We will reserve it for the elderly people, you know, and so forth. So we need, as people, black and white, this is a zebra force. We need this force. I mean, if we keep on, it's basically divide and conquer, still being practiced today. You know, yes. If I'm divided from you, my guy, maybe you have a farm, I have the hands. You know, I have the hands of agricultural. Maybe I'm gifted agriculturally. We can work our way up, and our communities and our families and the nation that we are in to be a powerhouse. But if we are still divided, the enemy will be at ease to conquer us. Exactly. And we know who the enemy. The enemies is your not George Soros, your Jeff Bezos. You know, these many people, they are the ones who are controlling everything, and there are just 2 or 3 people that are. Imagine this. This doesn't make sense. It doesn't make mathematical sense. 5 people controlling about 4 million or billion people. What's that? It doesn't make sense because we are divided.
Exactly. In our country.
It's a pyramid structure. What he's talking about, it's a pyramid structure.
Of course, yes.
When you look at the pyramid has a very thick base. But when you lead to the top, you get a point. So that's how they have structured it. They've structured it in such a way. They look at all the world communities as their base. These are going to be used as guinea pigs to do whatever beating they want to use. All right. And then there's a structure that goes up, right? You get the base, you get the little part that's above from the base, and you keep on going up. So at this point, I can safely say, according to all the research I've done and according to all information I've acquired, there is one elite out there who can say, I rule the world.
Yeah.
And in terms of money, this person that I've got no clue who he is, but I'm sure he does exist. I hope he calls me because he can. He's the ruler of the world.
in this country, or not just this country, this continent, there was that one man that you're talking about, and that was going to be Gaddafi. It was going to be Gaddafi, and we spoke about it on Tuesday, Vusi.
Yeah.
How Gaddafi wanted to put in the one world currency, one country, one continent currency, where where you can take your rand now and go to Zambia, and it will still be the same value in that.
Yeah.
But of course, coming back to the monetary system, we know the Americans and they don't really like that because it will affect imports and exports as such.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, why as Africans we don't have many things? I mean, most of us, we have adopted, I mean, the European way of doing things. Why don't we have our African way of doing things?
And I agree.
We used to have this. Everything was in one accord. You know, you used to have people coming. I come to your farm. You give me a cow. I give you a boot. You know, we were never capitalist mindsets. We never had capitalist mindsets.
On what you're talking about, the movie that recently got all those awards, Black Panther.
Yeah.
Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever. Trevor Noah came on a Wakanda.
Sure.
This is, when I watch movies like it, it's like people are trying to tell everyone that, look, black people did have wealth. Hey?
Too much.
And they had land like that.
Too much.
Okay, not so advanced as that. No, that's a science fiction movie. But this narrative that white people have got must come to an end. I mean,
there's a place in Africa.
Inequality, it must come to us.
I'm not sure of a name, right? But there's a place in Africa. In this one particular place, they found the most ancient depictions of what we called a written form of literature in Africa. Right? Like we had this. They were in a form of some sort of like mud slabs, so like
Egypt,
soil slabs.
Egypt.
It was around there, but it proves the fact that, you know what, human intelligence is not constricted.
No, it shouldn't be.
It's not. So when these people came about that authorized eugenics and said, mindless, feeble, what? There still was a slave there that had an incredibly higher IQ compared to his master.
Yeah.
Right? It's a fact.
Yeah.
When you look at what God can create, knowing that we cannot even contemplate it, it's a fact that he must have been there. So whether they had came, you know, this is the thing, we can start debating about something. Okay, what would have happened to Africa had Africa not been robbed of those resources? Because I call those people resources. They had minds, they had talents, they had so much that they were going to give them to the communities.
Let's Google quickly some black inventors, because I can't think of any names now. But there was black inventors out there, and they were ignored by white elites.
Oh my God!
What?
George
Washington, Louis Howard, Lonnie Johnson. Let's just go into a few here and take a look at some of the things that these people did. And it's not been taught in schools.
No,
it's not. Maybe now it is being taught in schools.
I don't think so.
What? You don't think so?
No, they're still busy with Vietnam Cold War. Even today, they're teaching the young ones about war. And so you have the rage in classes, you know. And so you have this uproar of children in classes. They're never told of their ancestors or the black leaders or whoever.
But you know, Vusi, you've got a point.
Yeah.
You've got a point. When I was back in school, I was shit scared of my teachers. Right? Like, seriously. Yeah, I would never even dream of raising my voice to my teacher, because at some point a teacher was not so far away from a parent.
Yeah,
because that's how I've always seen it in my mind.
Yeah, it's fear.
But I saw something the other day. Like I saw a clip. It's around there somewhere on social media of a guy that was beating the crap out of his teacher. What are we teaching our kids now?
Yeah, I know, the indoctrination of today. Because corporate punishment was taken away.
And then there's another teacher that just lost his license because he slept with the 50.
Yeah,
the world we live in.
We know why corporate punishment was taken away, because it led to abuse.
Yeah.
But there's various reasons. Let's just look at these black inventors here. There's one on top I saw here.
Yeah.
Dr. Dr. Shirley Jackson. Major developments, touch tone telephone, caller ID, fiber optic cable. How many, 1946?
You.
How many people know about her? Why hasn't she got credit? I mean, take a look in this country, for example, with the Vodacom thing.
Yeah,
the please call me.
yeah,
That was shocking.
yeah.
Huh?
That was shocking.
He just wanted recognition and he wanted to be paid for that. Okay, and then the extremists out there took it to the next level and they demanded 70 million rand and the protest happened. Okay, but that's politics in this country. Okay, but granted, give the guy credit where it's due. You know, there's a lot of inventors out there, but still the white elitists back in those days didn't want to give these people credit. Why? Because of eugenics.
Yeah.
Fritz Springmeier. Fritz Springmeier is one of the greatest authors I've ever had the luxury of reading his material. What I would say,
I haven't heard the name in a long time.
For a thinker, I would say anybody that can stand from a situation and pull themselves out, not feel it. Slavery is a very powerful subject, and not everybody can talk about that because we're black. And going through apartheid, we still felt that, and we're still feeling it today. But we at a point. I'm a black young man. I'm at a point whereby I'm at peace and I'm calm.
Oh,
right. So I've accepted these things have happened, but I don't just want to accept them, right? I want to learn from them, and I want to make sure that these never happen again.
yeah, true.
Not just for the betterment of my own race, but for the betterment of all races. You realize the whole world. If we can all just get along, if we can just all get along, this is going to be a better world. So if you're a thinker, just stop believing everything that you read on, especially like your mass media, and start conducting research on your own.
Dude, Twitter. Oh, yes, they can cause major kake. Oh, Twitter is such a lot of people in this country like to refer them as the black Twitter. They'll take a subject like your Adam Katsavolos and turn it into a real media nightmare. And media as such, media outlets, they get most of their stories from Twitter and Facebook and from social media. And what is it? It's clickbait. Clickbait, profit.
We were talking about this. We were talking about how much money they get to make when they perpetuate certain stories, when they elongate racism stories, make sure that, it's amazing. I wondered to myself, I was watching a clip on, I was watching an entire segment of a news, right? I watched it up until the end. They were talking about money. They were talking about black people killing white people. They were talking about white people killing black people. All of that, right? And then I just thought to myself, how many things had happened on this one day for them only to focus on that?
Yeah.
Because I can ask you one thing. How much power did the citizens lose each and every day when these people are out there making legislative choices for us? Because there's decisions that are being made for us that we are not even aware of.
Yeah.
All right. And again, tax. Yes, it's good to pay your taxes, but I wish the government would be a little bit more considerate and actually ask the citizens how much should they raise the tax before they just raise it.
Yeah.
Right. Considering that they've got so much money and I've got literally no money. Right.
I think it's also when you have money, I think the fact that South Africa is still stagnant, it's because of the white elites back then. They were just kicking back, because if you grew up with maybe privilege, and then someone manages to take that privilege away from you, you're obviously going to counterattack whatever that privilege that you had. So in the state that we find ourselves in, not blaming anyone, even the people that are in power, they are suffering from a kickback of the old regime because it was corrupt.
True.
We cannot say apartheid was never corrupt. We cannot try to feminize that apartheid. Okay, but it was corrupt. Apartheid. You cannot justify killing people, segregating people. I mean, the animal farm story says a lot. So in that way, where we find ourselves now, it's because of events that happened. It's a kickback,
I once had a theory. I tell you, Vusi, I once had a theory, and I think I told you, Jason, about that theory. And I said, seeing what had happened in this country, I'm a result of what happened in this country, born and bred from here, South Africa. And then looking at all these events that happened, I felt at a point that when we came into this new democracy, I don't want to say black, it's not black, it's not white, it's a new democracy because it was an inclusive democracy.
Yeah.
All right. I felt that we should have at least gotten somebody to be president that was not from around here. Either, I don't care whether they were black or they were white, but they shouldn't have been from around here. You know why? Because at some point I felt whoever was around here was eligible to be compromised.
Yeah.
Because of the events that have happened. And I thought to myself that the person that came from this country due to this compromised position that they find themselves in, because ultimately you're going to be compromised. It was a white leader. He's going to be like, the comebacks. If he's black, the comebacks. So we should have gotten somebody with a clear mind that looked at the situation and then analyzed everything and then gave us protocols. The funny part is most countries we find other sources of information is that they did try and talk to South Africa about the way that they should go forward. And we went a completely different route. Given that, it's already happened, but it's not done. Okay, this is the thing about life. As long as there's a new day that rises, as long as we've got breath in our, we can still do something. We can change this country. This is the most beautiful nation on earth.
Yeah.
All right. There's no country I want to die in, and there's no country that I want to live in. I love this country so much. Just want to see everybody getting along.
Exactly.
Right.
We all want that.
I'm not trying to say that we should accept everything that happened, but at a point we need to, in order for us to form one thing and forgive one another. Because to prolong and keep on questioning the things that have happened, you remember one thing, it's in the past, it has already happened. We can only just determine our future.
You know, when you speak about new democracy, something came to my mind now. The Freedom Charter, the 1960s Freedom Charter, the one that says the land shall belong to all that work in it. You know, money should be equally divided. That never happened, eh? The Freedom Charter is not happening, eh?
Didn't.
But they want it to happen now. Government wants it to happen with this Land Expropriation Act that they want to put into effect.
But what had happened is they thought of it, they scripted it, they put it on paper.
Yeah.
And then we live in a world that's full of other people, how they perceive us, how they perceive that we should do things. So ultimately, we are eligible to be compromised when you look at it.
Exactly.
I actually, since when you're talking about
yeah, we got it. Yeah.
The people shall share in the country's wealth.
Yeah.
I mean, when you go to Dubai, being a citizen of Dubai, you have a certain percentage on the oil.
Yeah,
just being there,
exactly.
Just being bought and bred up. What about we, black and white South African? Are we eating from this Freedom Charter? The people shall share in the country's wealth. We haven't.
Last time I saw who owns the diamond, it was De Beers.
The De Beers, yeah. No, they still got we spoke about it also on Tuesday.
Yeah, like seriously. You look at these world-class organizations that are still walking around. And so I was talking about the company that did the abortion pill, in the company that did the Zyklon B gas, right? We want to put things, in fact, not us. Is it that the world's powers, they want to take things which are the truth, flip them so that you cannot see anything.
Double standards.
All right.
Double standards.
They want to do it, but they don't want you to do it. So this is what I'm saying to everybody. We need to open our eyes, very much so. And then we need to start scrutinizing things.
Yeah.
And then we need to start educating ourselves, because you don't necessarily need to go to school to be educated.
Yeah, but what's up with the double standards in South Africa at the moment? Yeah, the media, like I spoke earlier about Twitter, and that you just spoke about a teacher hitting another child on the head. In fact, I spoke about it in my other podcasts. Nothing happens of it, but yet that high school Sanchui in Cape Town, where that white teacher hit that black teacher in the face, full speed, it got media attention, okay? But when a black teacher does it, no media attention gets given. What's up with the double standards?
I've got a question.
What's up with it?
I've got a question for that. And you know what? People know this. and I say people know this because it happens in front of their eyes all the time. Just that they are unaware that it even happens, or are they aware? It's one thing that I want to find out. But this is the thing. It happens. And what I want people to be very aware of is how much of it gets perpetuated onto mass media. All right? Because you would find it. It's what put in your place, your face, it's your food, it's what you eat. They want you to think about two races that are fighting.
Yeah, two races.
If I fight Vusi right now, that's nothing. Right?
Plus,
But if I fight against Jason, who's white, then it's mayhem.
But can we agree what the events that's happened in America with the white policeman hitting on black people in America, and it also goes wild on media. When America farts or sneezes, we feel the blows a couple of days later.
And there's a reason why.
Eh?
Perpetuation. Hence why I said, I watched the segment and then I felt like this is the only thing that they could tell me about. I mean, you know how many medical research gets done in a day? How many medical discoveries get done?
I guess there's a lot.
God, like, okay, we were talking about drugs, and then you find out that marijuana has got more medical effects than any other plant right here on earth.
Yes, you talk like that about drugs. Joe Rogan, he did an interview with. Yes, I'm just trying to get to my subscriptions here. Sorry. Okay, where are we now? Where's Joe Rogan? I want to go into Joe Rogan quickly. I want to get that name quickly, and you guys need to go into it. The listeners out there that's listening. Joe Rogan, he did an interview with John. I'm just trying to get to it now. Sorry. John, not Dave Foley, Dr. Phil. Jonathan Hurry. Yeah. John, was it Johan Hurry? Episode 1250. Google that episode on the Joe Rogan, episode 1250. He speaks about drugs, and it was a long debate. Was it 3 hours debate about drugs in it, and how powerful drugs is, and how politicians have got connections with drug lords.
Some of the most powerful drugs that have came onto earth, it's methamphetamines. I think methamphetamines. They used to actually use this in psychiatric labs, right? Like in fact, I'm not going to say most, I'm going to say drugs are scientific researched substances, all right? They know exactly, I'm telling you, there's a life expectancy for a nyaupe, an average nyaupe, a seasoned nyaupe, and a veteran. They know.
It's like 20 odd, isn't it?
You see,
in this country.
That's why I say the level of eugenics has not been removed. They have just used a new form of weapon.
Yes, okay, yeah, you're great. Absolutely, I'm with you 100%. 100%, yeah. They just found new weapons.
They found new weapons like drugs. They found new weapons like hunger. They found new weapons like prostitution. They found new weapons like abortion.
Yeah, and theories, conspiracy theories out there about AIDS and Ebola. It's all created in a lab.
And fortunately
it's there. It's all out there.
Fortunately for other people, it's not a cure for AIDS, but the way we eat now, we eat so much processed food. I mean, if we go to Dr. Sabi, he teaches us how to eat right, how to eat to heal the body, not to starve the body with food.
Processed foods, dragon, energy drinks, dragon and that.
I need to talk to
that shit's not good for you, man.
Seriously.
It's not good for you, man.
Vusi is going to be my new friend. Because I'm so flipped out. My eyes are bulging out. He just told me. He just pointed out right there. He said, what's wrong with your eyes? I'm like, wow, there's something. He's like, no, your eyes are bulging out. So, like, it's what we eat. And people, too much. Listen, if I see an ad of KFC and I am starving and I've got 30 randa in my pocket,
stop it!
What do you think I'm gonna do?
Well, then admit, stop it! The 30 rand KFC.
You walk through a center, like I walk in a center, walk outside of the parking, and then you can smell the food, like you can literally smell it. The moment you smell it, you want it in your bed.
Yeah, fast food in it. I mean,
another eugenics, right?
Yeah.
Fast food, another eugenics.
Because they say they post
another eugenics. No, you're right. Absolutely.
They use steroids in food, right? like processed food, even the meat that we eat today, they use steroids.
This is-
raw chickens. So you are eating a chicken
There's
at
this,
steroids.
there's this video on Facebook where I saw the top 15 brands and they did like a timeline of it.
Oh yeah,
I showed you that yesterday. You check the top line. It started off with the 2000 to 2017.
Coca-Cola was like up
Now,
there.
for years, Coca-Cola was on the top. Hey, for years, and then it was what? There's it there. There's it there. You got it. You got it.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola, Microsoft, IBM, McDonald's was there in the top 5 or so. Okay.
Marlboros.
Then Gillette, but Coca-Cola, 2005, it's still there. Check Microsoft, Coca-Cola, Microsoft, Coca-Cola, and then all of a sudden, Apple comes into the picture, and what happens to Coca-Cola and McDonald's? It starts to drop. You'll check it now, Vusi.
First
Watch.
is Google.
Yeah.
First is Google. Google comes and then
First,
Apple comes
then
out.
all of a sudden, Google comes in. It's 2010 now. Check Google now. It's climbing
Going
now.
up, yeah.
It's climbing now. Now watch it.
2011.
Apple is there. Check how Apple
And
is
check
climbing.
Apple now. From 2011.
Yo.
It just goes all the way to the
Yo.
top. And then from 2013, Apple's on top. Now watch Coca-Cola now. It's dropped now to 3rd.
Yo.
But it's going to drop. It's going to drop more.
Yo.
Okay? Now, my reasoning for why I think Coca-Cola dropped and McDonald's, check McDonald's now. Check how McDonald's is dropping now. It was in the top 5. Now it's going down to almost 10.
2017, 2018.
There it comes up a bit more, but it dropped down. Why? It's because I think people, no, it ended there now. It ended Apple on top and Coca-Cola dropped to the bottom, almost about 5. Sugar, diabetes.
And water.
Eh?
And water.
Diabetes kills. We know that.
Yeah.
I'm diabetic and I take metformin tablets. But I'm not completely off sugar. I know I should, but I know how to control my sugar. But these people out there that are stage 1, they get gangrene in their foot. Foot has to be chopped. No, man, what's the right word for it? Amputated, okay?
Sorry.
No, you're right. Amputated. So people realize that Coca-Cola is a threat. Eugenics.
Yeah.
Okay? McDonald's. Fast food. It's shit food. Eugenics.
Yeah.
It's killing people because we're eating processed food.
Yeah.
We're not. When I speak to people about when last did you eat an apple? Oh, a long time. But when last did you go eat a French bologna on your scambani? You know?
No,
just now. Just now I had like a French bologna with acha and chips and that.
There was a discovery I made. You like French bologna. I want to ask everybody. You know what makes your French bologna so pink?
Dude, you want to go into it, that's disgusting what goes into it.
Fetuses.
It's disgusting. Even Vienna's what goes into it.
Fetuses.
Yes.
Dead fetuses. So they get thrown there in the mix and then they... Next time when you just want to chow down and think about that.
Yeah, but in today's society, vegetables too is also very expensive, eh? Okay, fair enough. I went the other day to President and I bought some cauliflower. It was $7.99. But that's not always been $7.99. Sometimes it's 16 Rand, 17 Rand for cauliflower, you know?
Yeah.
A pocket of potatoes can cost you now, what? 19 Rand? And then all of a sudden, boof, it's 39 Rand. And then the highest I've seen pocket potatoes is 59 Rand. Yeah. You can't always afford that in a society we live in. The way we get paid, and we can't afford that. But that's our food source that we should eat. We should eat more vegetables in our food. Yeah. Meat, chicken. So that's basics. We got to have that. But our diet, we are not concentrating. We're not educating people in what to eat.
Exactly.
And that's why the fast food companies, processed companies, are making so much money.
But I mean, okay, fair enough. Who's my teacher right now? Who like consider me a normal average guy? Who's my teacher? My teacher is what? Social media is TV. What do I see on TV? Don't I see the ads of these fast food companies? Don't I see that each and every single day, them being shoved down my throat? Are you hungry? Here's make something. Are you hungry? Go to...
Yeah, so now who's allowing these adverts on TV?
Obvious.
Government.
The government, our present government, they're allowing these adverts.
And who's allowing these girls to go to the clinics and have an abortion?
The government.
Who's trying to kill us?
The government.
The government. Hey? It's crazy. This stuff is deep shit, guys. It's deep shit. And in a country like ours, because the majority is black people, and the wages that's been agreed by trade unions and that, you are forced to buy those foods.
I would say it is the elite's weapons. These are what they use. It's eugenics, like you said, has broadened out. It's not just now about the death camps. Okay, the death camps now, the abortions, but they went deeper. They went into our water supply. Remember, they said our local water supply is not so safe.
Yeah, because if people are not going to take the abortion pill and that, then they'll go at the next level and put in the water. That was in that video that we watched at Ma'afa 21. Yeah,
it was. I mean, we are being subjugated to things that we're not even aware of. So I'm just trying to say, people, let's just do our homework and then let's try and make this world a safer place. Not for us, but for future generations. There's a scientist that said mankind is like a cancer of Earth, which is true.
Yeah.
What other species has taken and reformed the Earth like we have?
Yeah.
We've got so much at our advantage. We've got so much knowledge out there. Just at the click of your weapons, like at the click of your fingertips. Don't, instead of trying to say something somewhere, just open up a live site that can teach you something.
Exactly.
There's so many that we need to learn out there, and be graceful to your fellow man.
Vusi, carry on. Yeah.
Okay, just to add on what you just said, Shadrack, I think Tupac once said this.
Legend.
True. He once said this.
I don't think he's dead.
No.
You think Cuba?
Tupac. Cuba. Yeah. Cuba. You say no.
Easy, guys. Easy.
Okay. Carry on.
You know, he said we gotta change the way we treat each other as a people. We gotta change the way we eat, the way we see one another as brothers and sisters. I mean, that's way back, way back. But it's actually reoccurring now. Meaning we still sleeping. Sleeping doesn't mean like going to bed and sleep. No, it means like opening your pineal gland.
I say the pineal gland, the third eye. Yeah, exactly.
You know, opening up to that, opening up yourself to the universe. Let the universe guide you
exactly
to liberation. You know, let the universe guide you to more better things. I mean, if we fight every now and then about black and white, then you're not gonna see the bigger picture.
Look into what you got here, Dr. Selby.
The man who cures AIDS, cancer, diabetes, and more.
Okay. Mbeki's mission was a cure for AIDS.
Okay.
Right? That was his main mission, okay?
Yeah.
But what had to happen if Mbeki had to find a cure for AIDS? What do you think would happen?
Many companies would go bankrupt. Many companies.
HRV, the
pharmaceutical companies.
HRV, because at that stage, HRV. Sorry, what did I say? HRV. The
ARVs, yeah.
The ARV tablets. Now you find a cure, so what happens now? Boom. Those companies can't make the ARV tablets.
Exactly.
Same goes with diabetes, and the same goes for cannabis.
Cannabis, yeah.
For many years, it was illegal in many countries, and that because it was seen this and seen the devil and the evil and that.
Yeah.
But doctors knew those years already that if cannabis was made legal in that, then pharmaceutical companies are going to lose.
I'm gonna lose stock.
Yeah.
I mean, Alzheimer's. I've said this to everybody. I'm the one guy that told his mother that I want to make my grandmother smoke some weed. Yes, I did. You know what? Because my grandmother had Alzheimer's. Was doing the research on medical constituents of cannabis, and then I found that cannabis had the potential to reverse Alzheimer's. So I wanted to go out there, roll a joint for my grandmother.
Yeah, but medically, it hasn't really been proven it can cure it. It maybe suppresses it a bit.
Yeah,
it calms it down. Yeah.
Like if you've ever dealt with an Alzheimer's person before, it's heart wrenching. Because every hour, my grandmother used to ask me, why is she here, not where she was supposed to be? She was living with us and used to live in Zone 14, and now we are living in Polokwane. Those are unfamiliar surroundings, which made her more uncomfortable. So, had we done research, there's a chance that my grandmother would still be alive today.
Again, we can agree upon it that this will just lengthen the process. And then people are not really dying as much from cancer. Eugenics, again, written all over it. Eugenics written all over it.
Yeah.
Hey?
Because it was said here in this other documentary that the first person, he was, I don't know, his cells were reused to create cancer on the black community.
Sure.
The first person who got cancer was back in the 18 something.
Yeah.
And then they took his body for autopsy and they studied how cancer worked. And then they took that cancer and they started, distributing it.
America has a word for that.
America.
They call it weaponizing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They take any
weaponizing.
type of disease. It could be a flu, it could be malaria, whatever.
Yeah.
Then they get this term behind it. It's called weaponized.
Yeah.
Why?
Eugenics, Papa. Eugenics.
Eugenics
Nothing,
because they don't want a particular race.
Yeah.
It's not long about the particular race because they're killing all of us all over the world.
Yeah, okay. We said this podcast is about the Black Holocaust, but it's not because we've seen Jews been genocided,
That's the thing.
Muslims been genocided, Chinese, Japanese.
Yeah.
Ma'afa is a realization. Ma'afa is a realization.
Ma'afa.
Ma'afa is a realization that it's not just the black community that has been subjugated to these things. All right, it's each and every citizen of Earth. They instigate these wars while you are in your mother's womb.
Yeah.
Now, how am I gonna fight a vacuum while I'm trying to develop a body in my mother's womb? That's how they first fight you.
Exactly.
And then when you get here, it's all about what? Like, you know what? When I was growing up, I had injections. What do I call those injections? Antidote, whatever. Yeah, they end you, right? I had about two of them. Then recently I had twin boys. And my boys have had more than 15 things.
Yeah.
Okay, coming back to the beginning of this podcast when we spoke about 4 million slaves being released into society. Here's what I think. I think those 4 million slaves should have been educated from day one. I think they should have been sent to school.
Slaves.
Well,
Slave masters or?
no. Well, the people when slavery was abolished.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Context.
Okay.
Context is very important. When those people were released from slavery, they should have went to school.
Have you seen?
But the Americans never did that.
That movie for Jamie Foxx, Django. I think everybody needs to watch that movie. There's a very, very powerful scene in that movie where a black man rides a horse. He's on horseback. He's not walking with the master. The black man, he's wearing a suit and he's on horseback. You know what the owner of the saloon said? Not to take this into contest, but it's right along there. He said, "What is that nigga doing on that nay-nay?"
Look, no. Shit. No, exactly, but that's
True.
But that's indoctrination again. It's indoctrination. How you were brought up.
I don't blame him. All right. I don't blame him because it's how he was raised. So he was raised to look at this thing and perceive it as good. But hey, people, you can go to school and you dog can learn new tricks.
I think that's what you were saying earlier on Tuesday, that when you have a donkey and then you put it in isolation for a certain period of time.
A dog on a chain. Let's say the dog on a chain. The dog on a chain.
And then when you give him food to eat, he will still go hungry because he's known to hunger. He's accustomed to hunger.
Yeah, he's been dependent on you.
Yeah,
he's been dependent on you.
Exactly.
And now when you treat him badly, and years go by, and he breaks free from that chains, and he sees you, what's that dog gonna do?
Gonna come back.
He's gonna fuck the living shit out of you. He's gonna fuck you up, that dog. He's gonna fuck you up, that dog. He's gonna bite your shit.
Exactly.
And that's what's happening here. I mean, all the years, and we're talking centuries and centuries of it. And only now we are coming to a realization of what it's caused to humanity. As such. What's it?
Rest of that song dictates on how people have perceived.
What's the name of the song?
Go to YouTube. Go into YouTube there.
It's called Trading Places.
Wait. No, go into YouTube.
It's called Trading Places. It's by a guy called Sepp and it's featuring Stead.
Trading Places?
Trading Places.
By who? Is it Usher?
No. The name of the guy is called Sepp. And then he's featuring Sepp. And then he's featuring
Spell it.
Steadco.
SAP?
And featuring Steadco.
Wait, I can't. Is it this one? Yeah. Trading Places. Okay.
You know who you fucking with? You know who you fucking with? Back the fuck up. Back up. You know who you fucking with? Bitch, do I look like I care? If you leave a state.
Okay, don't want to play too long. Just now get copyright strikes.
All right. There's a segment that says something about a nigger. This guy, he's talking about a black man. He says a black man should be given resources in order to educate himself, to make better his life. But there's two white people having a conversation. But this other guy comes and says, no, he's still a Negro. He's probably been stealing ever since he could crawl.
Yeah. No, we know, but we've seen lots of videos like that, and it's indoctrination, the way you were brought up.
So that's what I'm saying. People, change your frame of mind. Learn to be open-minded. There's all types. Okay, people need to research on how you need to think. There's closed mind thinkers. There's open-minded.
I honestly think that we have a responsibility, the three of us, to teach our young ones how to be in this world without any mental slavery, how to avoid eugenics.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah,
because I work in the security industry with core guards.
Yeah,
and while I'm sitting in my office, young boy, 23 years old, came in looking for a job, but he didn't really have the right uniform. So I said, you know what, dude, it's fine. I'll give you a job. I'm going to help you with the greatest of pleasure. But come back tomorrow with the right uniform. Just to have the right shirt on, the right pants, because you don't have it. So he came to me and he told me, please, Mr. Jason, I need 17 rand. And I paused at him and I looked at him and I said, you know, I want to give it to you, but at the same time, I don't want to give it to you. Now, you mustn't get upset with me, but I want to tell you why I don't want to give it to you. Because the youth of today are dependent on getting things. You know, we all know we're suffering that. And this is again what I spoke about to you about left-wing ideology and right-wing ideology. Left-wing is we are dependent on the government. Yes. We want handouts.
I want they promised me an RDP house. I want the education they promised.
That's it.
Demand.
Demand. I voted for you, so you give me it. Where right-wing is completely the opposite. They believe in individualism.
Yourself. Do it yourself.
And I've been saying this in almost all my podcasts.
Do it yourself.
Gun laws, property rights, property protection from government and that. So my statement to him was, I was trying to tell him, dude, you need to go out there and walk home.
Yeah.
Tomorrow too, you need to walk back. Okay. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want you to start thinking for yourself. Because when you put somebody under pressure, okay, when he's not getting handouts anymore, he's not thinking. He's going to stay dormant. He's going to stay dormant. He's going to stay in that state phase. So give him something to think about. Okay. This man is pressurizing me. It's far and that. But when he comes back, he needs to come back to work with a different mindset that I'm here to make money. I'm here to offer a service, to look after the car so that I can get a tip. Okay. So that in order for me to go home with a taxi, so I can have fare in it. That's what you just said. Now it's our responsibility to change the mindset of people.
Yeah,
change that mindset.
You know, touching base on that. That's why I said maybe we needed to go for liberal education from the onset, because we came out like our government, our ANC came out. And we made these promises to these people, and I understand the context that they had in mind when they were making promises to the people. But you realize you get to a point where you cannot provide for each and every one of the citizens.
Exactly.
That's why people need to be
but why not? No, but why not? It's bullshit. Why can't we provide for everybody? Why not?
Resources.
Because the reason why, in context, what he's saying is because currently the government is corrupt. You know, I was so surprised that some of the people in Poland, for an example, they don't know their president. But
sure, that's deep.
it's very deep, but the services are there. I had one guy told me that when you go there, when you want to chop off the tree, you have to go and ask the government for permission first, and then you chop off the tree, and then they come back, they tell you where to put another tree so those are the things that we need to look at in as far as how our government is being run.
Entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Can put an end to that.
Exactly.
The scenario that you were explaining of this young man that said he wants 17 rand from. I mean, yes, you given, right? You did have the 17 rand, but there was a very, very important, valuable lesson that was going to be more than 17 rand for him to try and learn that day. Hope he did.
I hope so too.
You know what it meant when he said, "Go home and then I'll see you tomorrow. I don't want to give you this money so that you will use your feet to go home." It sets a lesson in your head. It makes you plan.
That's a plan, yeah.
When you have that money that you have made, then you want to put away that 17 rand because I don't want to walk home tomorrow. Yeah. Same as hunger. We need to start informing our people. It's not a matter of not feeling humane. I mean, Ubuntu is something that is there. We're always going to be compassionate to each other.
Yeah.
But I want my son to be able to provide for himself.
Yeah.
And not for him to wait for his father at the end of the month to bring home groceries.
Yeah. You know what happens in the Ikasi, in the auction? And I've spoken to a lot of my car gods before I give them a job, and I asked them, how do you survive? And he said, you know what, in the locations, there's always a way and means to eat. I'm going to go eat there tonight. Tonight I'm going to eat there. I'm going to eat there and that. And that's cool. I love that because that's humanity. You're caring for each other and that, okay? Yeah. But it's still not teaching the guy a lesson because he's going to do it for 3-6 months. And maybe only after the 6th month he's going to say, listen, I need to get a job. I can't keep doing this, because there is nights where he does sleep hungry.
Yeah.
But he doesn't always go to bed hungry. He is always eating. Somewhere he's eating. And that's cool. I love that because that's humanity. That's compassion for other people. But that's in that community. In my community, and especially with me, when I and I've said it in my previous podcast, when I lost my job in that, I didn't have a lot of people to depend on. I couldn't go to my next door neighbor or that neighbor and say, listen, I'm hungry now. Can you feed me that?
I think that's the
I had to make a plan. So I used my brain.
Thank you.
I used the knowledge that I gained, that I learned in school. Okay. So again, that makes me privileged. I understand that. I understand the concept of privileged because of my forefathers. Education was there since day one. Okay. Yeah. And in the location life, that privilege was not given. It wasn't given. Okay. So that's why I stopped that guy and I didn't give him that 17 rand because I want to give him something to think about.
Yeah, I think it's.
I want to give him something to think about.
Right now, for the youth of South Africa, there's a very big decision that each and every one of us has to make. It's either you want to be involved or you are going to be impartial. You are going to sit on the sideline, and then you're going to let your life be dictated by other people, or you're going to stand up on your own and say, I want to do this. You realize it's a fire that has to start within one's own heart.
Yeah.
You cannot teach that. There's a valuable lesson that you're going to learn in school. So that's why I say your basics, you need to get your basics in order.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember one time, like, when you're talking like this, what you just touched on, Mr. Jason.
Not Mr. Jason, just Jason, please. Jason, please, just Jason. Come on,
you teach me morals.
Just Jason.
You teach me morals, so I give you Mr. Jason's. So what I was trying to drive home is that there was a time in my period when I was very hungry. There was nothing. There was no food.
Yeah,
we ate mtogo for supper.
What is that?
I like he's saying, use your mind. I took that plate, I took fork and knife.
Yeah.
I started eating mtogo with fork and knife, telling to myself, my inner gut, that everything is going to be okay at the end of the day. You will reach the place that you want to reach. I think you were trying to enlighten that boy when you gave him, when you didn't give him, that money that he needed. And again, with us, the way eugenics is, it's so broad. We don't have brothers. I don't have a brother. because of the effects of eugenics. Maybe he was lost in apartheid times when he was running or whatever, So I don't have a psychological connection with somebody. Like you said, because you lost your job and because of your indoctrination, your father taught you well, taught you right, you were able to survive the mental struggle that you need to come up with.
Yeah, because of my
job.
privileges,
Exactly. So we as black people, most of us, we don't have brothers to talk to show us the way. In Dana, this is what you need to do as a man, as a guy, because eugenics again came into the picture, So
I want to... No, carry on. So I want to touch a bit on something, but carry on.
So hence why we have so many drug addicts, hence why we have so many lawyers who are doctors, pilots, whoever, who are like misled. We want role models outside of our families, not inside, because there are no family structures in our own families because of eugenics.
Again, when I was in Checkers, when I became a manager, again, yes, I agree, it was my privileges that got me there. Not so much my education, because I had a standard 8, okay? But my privilege, and I became a manager, and I learned how to become a manager. I was first a shelf packer, worked my way up, supervisor, and I became a manager, and eventually a store manager. And when I became a store manager, I realized this is my time now to do something, to give back. When I got to my first store, that was in Joburg, I had a black guy there, Percy was his name, and he was a supervisor in that store for 7 years. And I realized his potential, I saw his potential, and I approached HR, and I said, listen, I want to give this guy a cap. She says, what do you mean, Jason? I said, nah, come on. We need managers, I want to make this guy a training manager. Okay, cool. She looked at me, she said, okay, cool. We put him through the program, because it was a 2-year program, and most retail stores have got it.
Yeah.
And I made him a training manager. But he completed his course faster.
Yeah.
As a year. And then he became my manager. He became my sales manager. Okay. Great. He was happy. I mean, for the first time now in his life, now he's a manager. Yeah. He's now something. Okay. When I left Checkers, I was in Spa. Probably about a year later, he phoned me. He traced me and he found me. Mr. Jason, I just want to say thank you to you. I said, no, dude, for what? He says, no, I got a bonus. I received a 30,000 rand bonus. I go, wow. That's awesome, dude. But why are you phoning me? He says, no, I want to say thank you to you because it was your standards. It was what you taught me. The branch managers there's a new branch manager. I said, well, no, but you must thank him. He says, no. That branch manager basically just carried on from what you put in, because that store that I took over wasn't a loss. It wasn't a loss of 1.7 million. And I turned it around that following year to 299,000. Not a lot, okay? But that following year, it made 2 million rand profit. And that's when he got that 30,000 rand bonus incentive, work well done. You know how proud that made me feel? Because
Zebra Force.
I felt that I did something here. I gave back.
Yes.
I gave back. And he was not the only one. When I came to Van der Belpark, I did the same thing. There was a guy there, Zachariah, also a black dude. I told my area manager, I want to make this guy a training manager. Same thing. And the area manager realized his potential and stole him. I said, now you're stealing him from me now. Come on, man. And he stole him. Then he took him to somewhere there in Secunda. Okay. A year went by, I saw him again. He's got a nice car and that. And then for a long time, I didn't see him. And then I saw him recently in the mall where I work. And I said, Zachariah, dude, yes, you gone fat, man. Fuck it. You got a fat stomach. And I said, what the fuck, dude?
Sure.
There's all the steaks. He says, Mr. Jason, I know, it's the good life. I'm walking with him and I walked to his car. Yeah. And I didn't realize. And he clicked the click and it was a Mercedes-Benz CLK 200. Yeah. Oh, I stood still and I looked there and I said, dude, dude, fuck it, can I shake your hand, man? Yes, shake my hand. I couldn't believe what he was driving. I say, and he's working for CTM. No, not CTM, the macro division.
Walmart.
Oh, yeah. I forgot the name now.
Okay.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's working for them, and yeah, he says, yeah. And again, he told me too. Straightforward, he looked at me and says, I would have never had this car if it wasn't for you, Jason.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, it goes back to how we need each other. You know, you went beyond the line of color. You know, you saw the heart, the mind of a person. You know, I mean, if we were to erase perception from black and white human beings, you know, we could see each other as one. You know, I think we have had so much topics or conversation around this. Yeah.
In everything that we're talking about, we're really making the white man look really evil. Okay. Let's step back. It's not just the white man. I mean, come on. We know the corruption that's going on. There's the Zondo Commission inquiry that's going on. Angela Grissi is now being on the platform, and there's other people's. I think McBride is also now on the platform. He's going to spill the beans on a lot of shit going on.
But
it's not a color thing. It's a human factor, and it's a greed factor.
Okay.
Can we all be in agreement to that? It's a greed factor.
That's where it goes. Ultimately, it's a choice of being dormant, being passive, and then deciding that I'm gonna stand up and do something, right? Because it's easy just to let things get by.
Yeah.
But it's not. You know, it's easy to destroy rather than to build.
Yeah.
It takes longer, and it takes more resources, and it takes more manpower to build. But in order for me to demolish, I simply just need a couple of minutes or seconds or even an hour.
Yeah.
So that's the type of mindset we need to try and eliminate.
Of course, yes.
We were talking about a new democracy. I want people to start getting to this point of mind where I say it's a new democracy. It's not a black democracy. It's new because it's inclusive. We were talking about a rainbow nation. Yes, we acknowledge the things that did happen, right? We acknowledge them.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, let's all come.
Yeah.
Let's all form one people, one-mindedness people.
Of course, Gaddafi wanted this.
Yeah.
He wanted this.
We in that segment, in that hour whereby we will be one, that's when we can see who our enemy is. And we've got one common enemy. When that fucker shows up through the door, he's one.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be black or white. He's going to be all races. But there's one thing that sets him apart from us. It's the money.
Hey, it's the mullah.
Kaching. Yeah.
Vusi,
Yes, sir.
land expropriation coming up. What do you want? What do you want in this country?
90 acres of land. That's what I want.
19 acres.
90 acres of land.
No, you know what, dude? This has been on the social platforms for a while. You should ask for land by the highway, by the freeway on the N1. No, listen. I don't know if I spoke to you about it, but ask for land there on the N1 so you can put a toll gate there, Chana. Put a toll gate there, you'll get lekker moolah.
Yeah, it's also another way of making money. You know?
Of course, I mean, it's your land, and those people are fucking passing through your land on the highway.
But I'm telling you that's not a way of making money. No. I've got a perfect plan of making money. You know what I would do? I would register an organization, then I would just follow along with the guidelines of Planned Parenthood. And then I get funding from the World Bank. I get funding from America. Isn't that what we want?
Oh, well, yeah, because of the currency exchange rate.
Isn't that what we want?
What's it, 14 rand now to the dollar? Huh?
Yeah,
14.
14 rand.
Thank you.
Come
on, man. I've been living the 50 cent life.
So, yeah. There's this Ghetto Walking by Miles Davis, Robert Glasper. You know, this is a typical example. It's a music. It's a typical example of how we are still working, but we are working unaware of the things that are going. I mean, if you check the lyrics, when I was young, nobody told me don't fall for traps. What are traps? Credit.
Yeah.
Drugs.
Yeah. Everything we've been speaking about, yeah.
Almost everything that we've been speaking about, you know. So it shows to tell you, if you don't have someone that's gonna impact you. I'm not talking about religion. I'm not talking about go to church and do. No. I'm talking about someone who has been there, your library, maybe your grandma. Sit down with your grandma, talk to her, get some wisdom around. Then you're going to see a broader picture of where you're going, what you need to do as an individual to protect your family, or to be confident wearing your surname around, because this division, it's devastating. It's becoming a conundrum, one that we become each other's enemy, just because of fragment, And I think, like I said before, we have a responsibility to teach, to correct. If we could correct, then
Vusi, when did we meet?
In CNA, you were buying a capitalist book. And I
was looking at a book.
Yeah, you were looking.
I was looking at a book.
Okay.
I was looking at a book,
and I asked you, hey, what's that book about? And then that's where it started.
It was 2015, eh?
2015.
It was 2015.
2015, yeah.
And we started speaking about the politics. Okay, but that was 2015, and my mindset then, compared to my mindset now, is two different worlds. It's two different things. I mean, you've asked me lots of questions that we spoke about years ago, and then I look and I go, I don't know if it's so much true now, because I've discovered other things.
Other things, yeah.
And that's the thing, we keep on discovering other things, eh?
That's the advantage of knowing, I'm not using any slogan for any famous, brands. The advantage of knowing it's quite important because you learn.
But I want to know now about you. Yeah. When I met you in 2015.
Yeah.
After that, we started seeing each other more, and we've spoke a bit on Facebook, and we've had more coffees and that. What was your interest in politics back then in 2015?
Knowing who has the truth. Who carries the truth. That was my interest.
Did you have the same amount of interest back then as what you do now? Because now I can fully say you've got more interest into it. In the last few years, you've done massive research. You have, because at one time when we met up and we had coffee again, and I was amazed, and I was like, wow, this Vusi has learned so much. I was chuffed.
Yeah. The thing is with politics, like I said earlier, I bleed yellow, green and black, Yes, I always wanted to be someone in politics, someone so influential to change the community, because where we come from where you come from, it's quite different, There's so much going on. Wrong things are going down, So even now, I'm still interested. I wanted, at some point, I wanted to be a counselor, but I saw you gotta have some protection before you could be one, Even my intentions with politics is to impact people, to develop people, not to use people for votes, but to develop them, give them channels and opportunities, I was once privileged being given an opportunity by a politician who said, you know what, go do 1, 2, 3, you'll see things will go through, will pop up, And that has been my interest, to actually impart on people's life, especially the youth, The interest now, it's actually growing even way higher and higher and higher. The more I talk to you, the more I see so many things. And Shadrack as well, is one one hell of a person who has a gold mind. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Gold mind.
But that's why I invited both of you here, because I like the way you guys think.
Yeah.
Both of you guys.
I'm thankful.
Brilliant. And this is one of the reasons why we're having this podcast. I want this podcast to be an awareness.
Yeah.
To raise awareness. We didn't just speak about
eugenics.
We didn't speak about eugenics as such. We spoke about the monetary system and all that. And you don't have to take our word for it, to the listeners out there. You go out there, take the phrases that we use there, go do your own research on it. If you don't like Google, then go to the library. Go to the library and do research. If you're in college or university, go speak to your professor about it. Yeah, okay, there's a lot of the curriculum at the moment. They're trying to change it at the moment, in universities. There's a podcast on the Renegade Report. Two students, they speak about It's called Progress SA. Google a bit about it and go into it. Hey, Vusi, take note of Progress SA. At a later stage, and just go out and check what they stand for in that, because there's a war at the moment at universities and they're trying to change the curriculum, change how and who educates and what race gets educated. And you can't let a white man educate this. I'm serious. I mean, you must go watch that or go listen to that podcast on the Renegade Report on Cliff Central. Progress SA.
Segregation. So right now,
no, it's not. It's you know, we're having this podcast. It's mostly of its layman terms. You know what I mean? I don't know the posh words. I don't know the posh words. A lot of posh words there that you half don't understand. But you go through the podcast and you get the idea what's going on. Guys, are we going to wrap it up?
Okay.
Vusi, is there anything you want to add?
Well, in Tupac's words, we gotta change the way we eat.
Yeah.
The way we treat each other as human beings, you know.
Absolutely.
That's the idea. Anything apart from that, it's eugenics.
Yeah. Shadrack?
Philosophy,
psychosis. Yeah, all the fancy words.
No. Develop yourself. Develop yourself. I'm not talking about materials. I'm talking about getting knowledge. Make sure that you know what's really happening in the world. The truth is out there. You just have to look in the right places and talk to the right people.
Open your pineal gland.
Open your third eye.
True. Open your third eye.
Yeah. In a world full of blind men, the one-eyed king or the one-eyed man will be king. So you need to open your pineal gland.
Of course, yes.
It's not the matter of opening your physical eyes. Come on. There's a greater power that will instigate you to go and find the real truth. So just be open-minded and seek the truth. Funny enough, I'm seeking the truth, and then I'm talking to politicians. So I'm a philosopher that's conversating with politicians. It's a world we live in.
Exactly.
Be open-minded.
Yeah.
Be open-minded and develop yourself.
Exactly.
Develop yourself.
All right, listeners out there, thank you for listening to my podcast, The Conscious Debriefing Show. My podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Spotify. There's so many various platforms. The podcast that's available here now is on Anchor FM. As you open the page, you will see there's various links. Download, okay, if you have listened to so far, let me give you advice. Download some of these podcasts. These podcast players, because it will give you notifications. If you like my channel, I can't force you not to like my channel or hate it. There's critics out there. I know there's going to be critics out there. If you want to go into my Facebook group, the link is on this Anchor FM link. Leave a link. Tell me I'm a twist. Tell me this and that. That's fine. I mean, we're all here. We're open for options, different opinions. We all have, in fact, different opinions. We're all not the same. We all have different wavelengths on thinking and what. So yeah, please subscribe to my podcast. And if you like this, give me a like. On the Anchor FM, there's a place where you can, leave a clap hand so I can know you guys appreciate my content. Okay. Okay. So where's my outro? There's my outro. Okay, guys. Vusi, thank you, my man.
Sir. Thank you for having me. It was blissful and open-minding. Yeah,
very much.
Too much.
Shadrack, thank you, my man.
It's a pleasure.
Okay.
It's a pleasure.
Cheers. Till next time, guys.